dear listeners. We are the Cutthroat Radio Players, and we are overjoyed you chose to join us this evening to experience a live reading of an old-time radio show. Tonight we bring you a reading from the first horror fantasy radio series ever, The Witch's Tale. Sadly, there are very few recordings of The Witch's Tale because its creator, Alonzo Dean Cole, destroyed all of his copies during a move from New York to California, though he did keep the 332 scripts written between 1931 and 1938. Cole was a wonderful example of the talent of live radio. He wrote the episodes to run 30 minutes, but if a script ran long, he would rewrite the script during the performance to extend it to another episode, handing out new pages to his cast to keep the show going. The cast of The Witch's Tale was the same each week with a different storyline. Cole's wife, Maria O'Flynn, played the lead female roles, and when the actress playing the show's host, Old Nancy, died in 1935, she was replaced by 13-year-old Miriam Wolfe. Cole himself played Old Nancy's cat, Satan. Tonight's cast is Jason McMahan, April Hicks, Rady Large, and myself, Lauren Baxley. So please make sure your glass is full, your chair is comfortable, and your radio dial is turned up. This evening, we present to you The Haunted Crossroads.
The fascination of the eerie, weird, blood-chilling tales told by Old Nancy, the Witch of Salem, and Satan, the wise black cat. They are waiting for you now.
Year-old I be today. Yes, sir, 122. Well, Satan, tell everyone to douse their lights. We want lots of darkness when we tell our bedtime stories. Draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into them deep. And soon, by the light of the moon and the stars, you'll see a barren stretch of land where two roads meet in old Massachusetts. 3 policemen stand a-talking there beside their motorcycle bikes. And soon you'll hear the story of the Haunted Crossroads. The Haunted Crossroads!
Sure you're not scared to have us leave you here alone, Tom?
Of course he's scared, Sergeant. Look at his knees shaking.
I'll probably yell for help the minute you guys are out of my sight.
Sure, Gene. I don't think he's properly frightened.
I guess not. Well, if he sees any spooks, he can't say we haven't warned him.
Seriously, boy. You'll keep your eyes peeled for other things than ghosts on this patrol.
You bet I will, Uncle Pat. I hope it's my luck to have the skunk who knocked off Smith and Barkley here start something with me.
Well, I hardly think that will happen. Those killings weren't done by the same man.
They were both stabbed in the back the same way.
That doesn't prove anything. Several fellows were stabbed to death here right after the Civil War. Then another about 20 years ago, according to our records. It wasn't the same murderer who got them, the 2 cops from our troops.
Well, unless you believe the crazy stories about this place being haunted.
Well, I've got to be riding off to the troop headquarters or Captain Dalton will be skinning the hide off of me. And you, Gene Hardy, had best be getting on your patrol.
I'll get the old bike moving. And when you get home in the morning, Tom, remind your sister she's got a movie date with me tomorrow night.
Kathleen is not apt to forget any date she has with you.
Trooper Hardy, your job at the moment is to keep your eyes peeled for speeders and reckless drivers.
Well, I'll try to remember that, Sarge. Well, good night.
Good night, Gene.
Good night, boys.
Kathleen, oh, in the morning. Da-da-dee-da-da-da.
Uncle Pat!
What the?
Help!
Tom! I'm coming back, kid. I'm coming back.
Gene!
I'm coming, Sarge.
Oh, it's Tom! Oh, merciful God!
Sarge, what is it? What's happened?
Come quick!
I'm here. What happened? Tom?
He's dead.
He can't be dead. We just left him.
I started right after you rode away, and then I heard him yelling, "Oh, merciful God, I raised that boy. He was like my own son."
He's been stabbed in the back. Just as Smith was stabbed a week ago. And Barkley.
Here at the same rotten crossroads.
Now pull yourself together, Sarge. You know what I thought of Tom. But we're cops. Listen, you were back here before I was. You must have seen something.
I saw no more than you see now. Whoever did it got away. They got away.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Tom wasn't alone here for more than a minute. No one could have gotten to him across these open fields and then away again in the time I left and came back. Yet I saw no one but him and you. What was that?
A woman's laugh. A woman's laugh, you hear it too.
It sounded here.
Right here beside us. At my very elbow.
Yet no one's here that we can see.
Are you feeling witchy? Well, do we have the place for you? The place for all of your tonics, teas, tinctures, flowers, and a little thing, something more exciting, lays for you at 610 West Main Street at Snake Song, where all of your floral, apothecarial needs can be met. Look at us online, Snake Song in Sylva, North Carolina.
An invisible woman? That's the craziest part of your whole crazy story.
But we did hear it, Captain Eldon.
It's true, so help me.
But there wasn't any woman by your own confession. You said you searched and couldn't find her.
We searched everywhere around, sir, but there's no place for anyone to hide.
And like the Hicks around here, you come to the conclusion that the old crossroads are haunted? A female ghost stabbed Tom Fallon with a very ungodly steel knife, I suppose, which she carried away with her because you couldn't find that either. That's a fine way for two policemen to explain a murder.
We're only telling you what really happened.
But it couldn't have happened.
Just the same, it did. Now look here, sir. Tom Fallon was my closest friend. I'm engaged to marry his sister. Sergeant McGee is his uncle. You don't think we'd lie to you while Tom's dead body lies out there in the squad room?
He was like my own son.
Here, Sergeant Pat, sit down. I'm sorry I have to pound at you like this, but Tom is the second in the troop to be killed inside a week, at the same place, in the same way. And last year we found Barkley dead there. 3 policemen stabbed to death, and we haven't a single lead as to the rat who did it.
You think the same person killed them all, sir?
Yes, and that person is a man, not a laughing, invisible woman. A man with strength enough to kill in a single blow. Hardy, you say Fallon wasn't out of your sight for more than a minute before you heard him scream?
I'd only passed the first turn south of the crossroads. A minute and a half at the most.
And you got back to him in about half that time. How about you, Sergeant McGee?
I left Tom right after Trooper Hardy rode away, sir, and heading north.
And neither of you saw any vehicle approaching from the east or west, nor past any?
No, sir.
There was no traffic at all.
Then in the 70 or 80 seconds that Fallon was alone, someone ran across a completely open space, drove a knife into Tom Fallon's back, and then ran away again?
It's crazy, but that's the way it must have happened.
It's the only way it could have happened.
It didn't happen. It's impossible. The world's greatest sprinter couldn't have covered the necessary distance in that short of time. And any man must make a little noise, yet Fallon saw and heard nothing until a knife was in his back? You're lying to me, both of you. By the Lord, if I didn't know how close you were to the boy, I'd say you bumped him off yourselves.
Captain Eldon!
Don't say that, don't!
I'm sorry. I don't mean that, of course. But unless you fellows change your story, the coroner's jury is going to ask some mighty embarrassing questions. You've established yourselves as the only persons in the vicinity who could have come close enough to Fallon.
No one's gonna think we had anything to do with this when they recollect the other killings at the crossroads. Even if they don't believe we heard that woman laugh. You've forgotten, Captain, that Tom is the third to die out there, by the same man's hand, you say. Last week, when Smith was killed, Sergeant McGee and I were on duty with you in the station from the time Smith left here until the time the body was found. And when Barkley got his a year ago...
George, you and I were up in Maine doing some fishing, don't you remember? And Gene here, he was...
I was serving as a motorcycle escort for the governor. No one will question that alibi.
You're right. But if you've told me the truth about tonight, then what's the answer? I didn't have to listen to another yarn about Smith and Barkley's murders. No one was near them when it happened. They had been dead for hours when they were found. Excuse me, boys. The things I've said, if I don't find someone to pin these stabbings on pretty soon, I'll be believing those damn crossroads are haunted. That's all. Just a minute. Come!
We found Miss Fallon.
Bring her in.
Yes, sir.
Does she know her brother is...
No. I telephoned her to come down here, that's all. You better break the news to her, Pat. You're her uncle.
Oh, no, not me. I can't even see her now. Let me out of the other door before she comes in.
Captain Eldon, why did you telephone me to come down here? Jean? Uncle Pat? Why are you here? What's wrong?
Let me out here. Let me out.
Uncle Pat? It's Tom. Something happened to Tom.
Don't look at me. I don't know anything about it.
Kathleen, dear.
Miss Fallon.
Tom was posted at the crossroads tonight. He's been killed there like the others?
Yes. Your brother is...
Tom! Oh! Tom! Oh!
Kathleen, dear.
Let me out of here. Let me out.
Oh, Pat.
I can't bear to hear her cry. I can't bear to have her eyes upon me. Her eyes like Tom. They accuse me. They accuse me.
Accuse?
For God, I swear I didn't mean to kill him.
What?
You?
Yes, I killed him. I didn't tell you the truth. I never left him at the post. I killed him because something in the black's tail got into me. I stabbed the knife into his back. I couldn't help myself. I was made to do it. I was made to do it. Now I'm paying for what I've done.
Don't let him get his gun! He shot himself!
Uncle Pat!
He's dead. Tom Fallon's murderer has just killed himself.
He stabbed my brother? Oh, no. No, he couldn't have.
You heard what he said, Mrs. Fallon.
But who killed Smith and Barkley? McKee couldn't have done that.
And why did he say he couldn't help himself? that he was made to kill his nephew.
And what was the meaning of that woman's laugh I heard?
Do you find yourself feeling a little witchy? That feeling that you just can't help yourself, like someone else has taken over? Well, Baxley's chocolate is the perfect potion to cast off that curse. Our truffles, caramels, buttercreams, brittles, fudge, ice cream, and gelato are sure to sweeten that disposition and restore your delicious personality. Baxley's Chocolates is open Monday through Saturday and located at 546 West Main Street, just across the street from the Sylva Herald. Or ship a little magic to someone you love at www.baxleyschocolates.com. Baxley's Chocolates, your friends and family will thank you.
You in the car! Drive on, no stopping here!
It's only me, Jean.
Kathleen!
You can put your gun away, but I'm glad to know you're being careful.
Why drive all the way out here at this hour, honey?
I couldn't sleep knowing you were posted all alone at these crossroads tonight.
Dear, I told you not to worry. A troop has been posted alone here for 3 weeks now, ever since poor Tom was killed, and nothing's happened.
You think there's no danger here anymore now that Uncle Pat is dead?
Look, you mustn't start thinking about him now.
It's rather difficult not to think about him. I will never understand.
He was out of his mind. It's the only explanation.
But what drove him out of his mind? What could have made him destroy someone he loved, as we know he loved Tom? And he said he was made to do it.
I don't know.
Jean, you're all I have left. If anything should happen to you now,
No, nothing's gonna hurt me, dear. Come on. Get a hold of yourself, sweetheart.
But Uncle Pat didn't have anything to do with the other deaths here. He was miles away when Smith and Barkley were stabbed. Jean, maybe this place is haunted.
You don't believe that stuff any more than I do. You're just all upset. Now here. I'm going to disobey all orders of the state police and join you in this car for a little roadside parking.
No. No. Don't get in. I'd rather get out and walk a bit. I've never been out here, you know, at night, I mean.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be out here now. Fine thing driving this deserted old road at midnight. Have you got that little gun I gave you?
Oh, yes. I always carry it when I drive alone.
Oh, that's good. Well, come on then if you want to walk.
Jean, exactly where did you find Tom's body? Uncle Pat's kneeling beside it.
We're not going to talk any more about that.
All right. Really wouldn't do me any good to know. Such a gloomy spot here. No cars passing, no road lamps.
These are just old country roads. No state trooper had to patrol here regularly until...
Until after Frank Barkley was found stabbed here.
Oh, Kathleen!
I want to talk about it, Jean. I loved Uncle Pat. He was a good man, not a killer or a maniac. And I've got to find out what made him do the thing he did. Find out what made him say he couldn't help himself. Uncle Pat was in Maine when Frank Barkley was killed. Tell me about that.
Well, all I know is Barkley didn't report on schedule. When they found him, he had been dead for several hours.
And then Smith, just a week before Tom?
Like Barkley, he had been dead a long time before he was found.
But Uncle Pat couldn't have done it.
Oh, he wasn't out of my sight, and neither was Dalton, or the others at any time that night. Well, after that, Captain Dalton made this a fixed post.
I can't understand it.
Neither can anyone else.
70 years ago, the papers say a town constable was stabbed here. and another constable about the time we were children. That makes 5, all police officers.
That's screwy, all right. But you mustn't think about it anymore, dear. Don't worry about me. Look around you. There's nothing but open spaces, sand, grass, and 2 level high dirt roads. Why, there isn't a bush or a stone big enough for a cat to hide behind, let alone a man with a knife.
No one could come close to him here, except someone he knew and trusted, as Uncle Pat was trusted by Tom, as you trust me.
Hey, that's enough nonsense now. Go home, go to bed, and get some sleep. Keep that little automatic I gave you handy on the way. Night driving is no business for a woman.
I wish you'd let me stay.
Not a chance. You want me to lose my job? That's what happens to cops who entertain ladies during business hours.
But it's so gloomy here, so silent and eerie. It looks like a haunted place.
Ho, ho, bunk. Here, give me a kiss and say goodnight.
Oh, Jean, I can't lose you.
You're not going to. Well, I'm safer here than being in church. What was that?
A woman laughing.
That's what I heard the other night.
Look, there.
A woman in the road.
She wasn't there a moment ago. How?
I'll soon find out.
Jean, come back here.
Get back in the car, Kathleen. You in the black dress. I want to talk to you.
No, don't follow her, Jean. Come back.
Wait. I tell you, whoever you are, don't walk away from me. I'm an officer of the law.
Don't go any closer to her. Don't let her touch you, Jean. Keep away. She disappeared, vanished as I watched her. Where did she go? Come back. Come back.
I'm coming.
What happened to that woman?
No, I'm coming.
Jean, what's happened to you?
Got to do it.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Got to do it. Got to do it.
Why are you opening your pocket knife?
Can't help myself.
You look as though you don't know me, as though I'm someone you hate. Jean, I'm Kathleen. You love me.
Kathleen, love.
Don't come any closer. Keep away.
Kathleen, love. Get your gun, Kathleen, and shoot me before I reach you. Shoot me. It's the only way to stop me. I can't help myself.
No.
Yes. Shoot me or I will kill you with this knife.
No, you're mad.
Shoot. Shoot, I say. Before I drive this knife into your back.
Oh, may God forgive me. It's the only way. I've shot you, Jean. I've shot you. She's here beside me. The woman in black. Keep away. Keep away. No.
Are you tired of the vexation of sports bars and breweries? So are we. And that's why we are here at the Cut Cocktail Lounge to offer you an adult experience in cocktails and mixed beverages. Located at 486 West Main Street in Sylva, North Carolina, in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. We are here as your bastion against the many televisions, the many screens, and also the many screams of the public. Please come to the Cocktail Lounge to have yourself an adult beverage and an adult time. Look us up online, the Cut Cocktail Lounge, Sylva, North Carolina.
Bravo.
Come on, Miss Fallon. I want to hear more about this woman who laughed, this ghost.
Oh, please. Please don't ask me any question. Go up to that operation room again, Captain Eldon. Make sure Jean is going to live. I only shot him to stop him.
You stopped him, all right.
Oh, here's the doctor at last. Oh, doctor.
That's all right, Miss Fallon. We've taken the bullet out of Trooper Hardy's shoulder, and he will be up and around in just a few days.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
And also, Jean's tough constitution.
Now that that's off your mind, will you please tell me exactly what happened at the Crossroads tonight?
I'll answer all your questions now.
What I've already heard this evening has made me very curious.
Sit down, Doc. It's your office and your hospital. Go ahead, Miss Fallon. Let's hear all about that laughing, appearing, and disappearing woman.
If I were you, Captain, I'd withhold my judgment a while. Trooper Hardy has been babbling about the phantom woman under the ether. Under ether, people don't lie. He's been repeating over and over he couldn't help himself.
He couldn't. Some way, somehow, she made him want to kill me. But he loved me. That love was stronger than her power. He had time to warn me.
So you obligingly shot him?
Yes.
And the woman reappeared again.
Right beside me. She laughed. She laughed horribly. And then, as I looked at her, she just wasn't there.
A woman in black, you say?
Yes. A dress all folds. It might have been a shroud. Her face was like the dead. It was an awful purplish tinge, like she'd been strangled. Around her throat was a heavy rope that dangled to the ground. Oh, God, I will see it till the day I die.
I don't believe in ghosts. You just shot one of my troopers. I don't care if you were engaged to marry him.
That's enough, Captain.
What?
I'm boss inside these walls of this hospital. And this girl is in no condition to stand your third degree. Besides, I think she's telling the truth.
The truth?
Why not? We can't call a thing a lie simply because we don't understand it. Have you any better explanation than we've heard for the tragedy at those old crossroads?
You don't think anything
I
supernatural?
think something that has lived beyond the span of an ordinary human life is responsible. Remember those almost forgotten tales in the newspapers? The man who was stabbed in 1865. The other chap in the early 1900s. One of the reporters told me they've discovered several more crossroads stabbings in the records. A peace officer was killed there in Andrew Jackson's time, Old Creek. And a member of the Watch back then was, well, when Washington was president.
All policemen.
By Jove, I hadn't thought about that light.
And Miss Fallon, you say the phantom woman had a rope around her neck.
Yes, a thick rope with a heavy knot.
A hangman's rope. And at the crossroads in the early days, criminals were hanged and buried.
What's that got to do with it?
Maybe a lot more than you think. Excuse me, Captain, so I can move that chair aside and get to that bookcase.
What?
I want to find something. Something I've read and more than half forgotten. Policemen, officers of the law. They being the only ones who died at the crossroads where the gallows tree once stood.
That's just a coincidence.
But you must admit, a strange coincidence. Here's the book, an old history of this county.
History?
Here it is. I knew I read it somewhere. Look.
What is it, Doctor?
I'll read it to you. Listen. On the 15th day of August, 1721, by order of the King's Governor, a giblet of good stout oak had been erected at the Berkeley Crossroads. That's the name of our old place, Captain Eldon.
Go on reading.
And there the criminal Goody Fairfax was taken, still protesting her innocence of the foul crimes the jury of her peers had found her guilty, and apparently her defense attorney.
Let her dangle from the rope.
No, I swear I'm innocent. The officers have lied.
Hold on tightly to her blanket so I can fix the rope around her scrawny neck.
Let me go. You cannot kill me.
She wriggles like an eel.
Don't waste no more time.
I've done no murder. Have mercy. I'm innocent, I swear.
You've had a fair trial, maid, and been found guilty. And soon be a crime to be buried in the soul of infamy beneath these gallows here.
Nay.
Aye, so old past may spit upon your grave.
Aye, the rope is fast at last.
All is ready, my Lord Sheriff, when you give the word. Quiet! Let the King's High Sheriff speak.
Nay. I, who am about to die this unjust death, will speak. Hear me, ye officers of so-called justice who have decreed this fate to me. As I die innocent of crime, I vow to return from death, a murder you'd hanged me for. And ye officers of blind law do visit death upon me, so I shall visit death upon you with no more sense of right or pity. You mean to bury me beneath this gibbet in an unhallowed grave, away from God? Whilst I remain away from God, beware. Beware, I warn thee, for not even death will stay my hate. I will return to bring you death, officers of law. I shall return to bring you death. I shall return to bring...
And though still screaming her threats of ghostly vengeance and the murderous Goody Fairfax was harmed to death. Then the old account goes on. A body was cut down and buried underneath it at Berkeley Crossroads.
The Haunted Crossroads.
Captain Eldon, whether or not you believe in ghosts, it might be a kindly thing if you were to search for Goody Fairfax's grave. And if you find it, place her restless bones in a hollow ground. A kindly thing and a wise thing.
I haven't gotten over it yet. There were human bones. A woman's bones buried beneath those crossroads.
I knew you'd find them if you only persisted in the search.
He persisted, all right, making us troopers do the digging with me on a double shift. Fine way to treat a man a week out of the hospital.
And a newly married man.
I thought it was a good way for you to earn your sergeant stripes.
Sergeant stripes?
Yeah, here's your warrant.
Captain Eldon.
I had to make you two crazy kids here some sort of wedding present, and this didn't cost me anything.
Oh, how can we ever thank you?
Be happy. And Kathleen, let that first shot at your husband be your last.
Well, that's the end of that one, Satan. You folks come see me again on my birthday. We'll have another cheerful yarn to spin you.
Thank you so much.
Do not forget to tip your bartender.
Rady Large!